Hello everyone, just wanted to quickly go over the three concepts that I've learned thus far within the class. And I wanted to start off number one with terminology. Now, when it comes to the way we identify uh, indigenous people or Native Americans, we commonly come across three terms, or at least I've come across three terms. And the first being Native Americans, um, American Indians, and then lastly, Redskins or Red Indians, which is a derogatory term. Now, for the longest time, I was unaware that Redskins or Red Indians was a derogatory term, and actually, the term Redskins was coined in the 60s by bounty hunters that would hunt down Native American men, women, and children and decapitate them by their heads. Hence, the term Redskins was coined. And then the second term, which was American Indians, or, yeah, right, American Indians, this is actually an inaccurate representation or identification because Christopher Columbus, when he arrived to the Americas, he mistakenly thought that he was, at the Indian Ocean, and thus when he reached, land, he coined the people as Indian Americans. Or perhaps not the term American at the time, but definitely Indians. And then finally, Native Americans. This is a term that I commonly use, but I've learned that it can often be insensitive towards many indigenous groups because many groups don't even choose to identify with this term. Rather, they simply go by their tribes' names. Now, the second concept that I've learned from the class, which has been quite intriguing, is the quote-unquote discovery of the Americas by Christopher Columbus. Now, the book goes into a lot of detail in this, but basically, what it claims or what it argues is that Christopher Columbus did not discover the Americas or the indigenous people, the indigenous tribes people. Rather, he mistakenly stumbled upon these lands, and the indigenous tribes people discovered him rather than him discovering them. And then finally, the third concept that I've learned within the class is the indoctrination of Native American children, as well as the stripping of Native American or indigenous identities. And so I was quite aware that there has been, movements uh, within our history to indoctrinate indigenous people and to strip them of their identity. But one of the ways that I was unaware of was through boarding schools and sort of concentration camps. Well, that's what they were. They were called boarding schools, but they were more so concentration camps where there were many instances of abuse, and just a way of, stripping any ounce of identity. And it was covered up as a way of civilizing indigenous tribes people, but rather, they started with the children because this was the next generation. And so slowly, slowly, it was an attempt not really to civilize, but to strip a people of their culture and their identity. But those were my three takeaways. Thank you for listening and enjoy your summer.